So this time feels a little bit different. So over the last few days, we've had some very, in my opinion, interesting developments that have ramped up everything very, very quick. We also have potentially the Ethereum deadline. So be mindful of potential volatility. As this video comes out, there may well be a decision already. But what next? More ETFs. There's been a country that I know very, very well, given my accent, has approved something which I wasn't expecting neither, which we need to talk about too. And not to mention TikTok, or as I like to say, TikTok with crypto investors. Some of the worst cryptocurrency investment advice you're ever going to see is on TikTok, and they might be using Polkadot to manage it. Let's get into it. Let's crack on. So first things first, you all know I like Polkadot, but there has been a consortium leading to potentially acquire TikTok, but their aim is actually to use a bit of decentralization, and the one thing that they're looking to do and rely on is potentially a Polkadot parachain. Now I know all the comment sections are going mad, oh well, it doesn't work very well. The reality is here, Polkadot is a bit of a different beast than most cryptos in terms of how it's worked with its decentralization, and they are looking to get out and about a little bit more with their marketing presence, and this could be huge for data decentralization, for obviously proof that things work in a decentralized manner for data, not to mention. But the reality is here, TikTok is under a lot of scrutiny with how it works, data, in terms of what it does with that data, and how it is obviously potentially sold. So this is worth keeping an eye on. The fact that it's looking to empower users to migrate by TikTok to an open source protocol could be very, very interesting. And, you know, as you can see here, this restores the control of digital identities and data. Yes, this is one of the biggest problems what we got with TikTok, right? So this could be very interesting. By the way, if you're not done so, yes, you watching, please like the video and hit the subscribe button. So the thing that blew my brains yesterday, pretty much yesterday, there was rumors of it, but I thought, nah, that can't be right. The FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, right, has been recently basically removing our arms, right? Imagine us as investors, we can't use Bybit, we can't use many exchanges and wallets in the UK. It is actually really bad at the minute. And they've just approved a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETP on the London Stock Exchange. I know, mad. So basically what's happening here, we have got an Ethereum-based product as well. So exchange-traded products is basically the UK version of an ETF on the London Stock Exchange. Now, I know that there's not going to be much in terms of retail because it is available for only professional institutions, but it's a fucking step in the right direction. Well done to the FCA for listening. Now, I could do a whole video on the FCA in terms of what's happening in the UK and why things have gone wrong and all. You get the idea. It could be very, very horrible as a video. But the reality is here, this, as I say, is good news, it's positive news, and it's a step in the right direction. It'd be nice to see this. So basically, this is a Wisdom Tree physical Ethereum ETP alongside a Bitcoin one, right? Yeah, it's debuting on the 28th of May. So this has happened, it's been approved. So this is obviously a step in the right direction. And as I say, this might well lead to retail versions, especially on like trading 2-on-2 and stuff like that, which could be pretty nice. So the next bit of news, which I talked about at the start of the week, was the US House of Representation, or representatives even, have passed a bill to create a new legal framework for digital currencies. Aha! Now, basically what this is doing is it's kind of somewhat bypassing the SEC. This will allow things to happen much, much quicker. So basically, it's, you know, to support the US Congress, argue that the bill will provide regulation clarity to help promote the industry's growth, right? So basically, if you're looking at this situation here, zooming in, basically it will likely approve applications for Ethereum spot exchanges probably much faster, and we've already had a little bit of an idea of that, haven't we? Look how fast things have moved, like literally how fast have they moved? In literally a week, it's been crazy. So this is all pretty big, and as I say, if it is going to like just allow them to do it and bypass the SEC because they're bit shifty, that could be massive. So make sure you understand how that works. But I am, personal opinion, more for this sort of regulation clarity with the markets, because I think there's a lot of Wild West, and I think as much as I have been in the market for so long, since 2016, there's a lot of Wild West stuff which isn't going to help when they are trying to do stuff with, when it comes to like obviously money. We all know that crypto is different to, you know, the fiat system, obviously. So To enable this to have its own thing away from the SEC, which is very much traditional, old school, and they do not protect your money at all because they forget everything and they go after stupid things, is quite a big thing. Also, if you've not yet done so, check out my Patreon for extra videos and, most importantly, a private Discord where you are safe and there's some pretty damn good alpha ETFs. There's always going to be speculation about other ones, right? Yeah, I know. Solana. Hello. So Solana could be the one, right? I know I've bashed Solana quite a lot. I often take the piss out of it. But it's kind of logical to think, and I mentioned it in the previous video. I talked about Chainlink. I talked about Cardano. I talked about Solana, Polkadot, Tron, all the big boys that have been around for a long time who have good use cases essentially in terms of users and people are genuinely interested in buying into them. I did say though that certainly in my Patreon, I said yesterday privately, I think we're not going to see one till next year at least, but I could be wrong. I was wrong on Ethereum with the speed of that. Obviously, there's more chance of it being approved now than ever before. But I think personally, there's going to be more of a basket of assets more than just individual one ETFs, which doesn't make sense to have like multiple ones. The way I see it, personal opinion, of course, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs are fine. And then I think it'd be nice to see potential areas where you could have an exchange fund as a basket, like the top 20, top 50, whatever it may be, which could be absolutely massive, obviously, if it is obviously spot and they're all weighted like an index fund. As I say, though, Solana is very much a Marmite asset. One of those ones where, yeah, it's more likely than not to get it. But if they are thinking that this is going to happen, the market will really move pretty quickly in terms of altcoins. And it will probably give a lot more of a stepping stone for a lot of people to get involved. We all know, we're all in our own little bubble here. Oh, it's quite, yes, it is. It's fucking hard to get involved in cryptocurrency. It's for a new person to learn it, it's hard. This removes that barrier, which is pretty scary to think where we could be going, right? Now, as I say, the Ethereum deadline is today. Whether it comes or not is another thing. But as you can see here, like a lot of the filings have been kind of done and the approval is for today. This is the deadline. Now, I tweeted about, well, whatever, posted on X. Feel free to follow me on there about it. I said about all the things coming through and about 6 or 7 different applications came in on that day and it was all changed. I think what was changed was quite obvious, staking, remove staking, and we can talk about it. The problem we've got is, what if it fails, right? It talks about the bullish side of it. We've also got a bearish negative side. We're going to look at the price analysis in a second, but we're going to kind of make sure, well, what happens next? Is it already priced in? That is a factor because we've already had a massive surge. When we go back to Bitcoin and the BTC ETF, obviously, yes, there was a lot of rumbling. Oh, it's going to get approved, it'll be fine. And then it got approved, bang, off we went. The market dumped a little bit, not severely, but it crashed a little bit. It was priced in a little bit, it corrected, then it went on a big, massive spurt. We could well see that happening again. And I've talked about Ethereum potentially going to revisit all-time highs very, very soon. And that could be the trigger that will allow it to happen, right? And when we look at the data for the Bitcoin ETF, this is the current live data. In the last couple of weeks, it has been really, really good. Certainly since, mid-May, it has been doing very, very well. The outflows of Grayscale has, diminished quite a lot and there's still been quite a lot of inflow. So there's a lot of good things happening here. There was a massive, massive bout of volume going into IBIT on, the 21st, which is absolutely massive when you think about it. So things are looking pretty good, right? And the final bit of news I want to talk about is obviously the AI narrative little thing. This time could be different for a lot of the industry because of AI. Nvidia stock has absolutely soared. It's flew. Its revenue hit 26 billion, which is absolutely massive. And they're doing a stock split as well. So it is up currently. It was up obviously 6% yesterday post close. And yeah, you can just, the data is absolutely savage here. And this could mean like a lot of AI assets, certainly in crypto, could do very, very well. So let's get into some technicals. So the first bit of technical analysis is obviously NVIDIA. Wow. This is the chart. This is the weekly chart for NVIDIA. It has been absolutely giga pumping, pretty much a 10x from the bottom. It's currently pre-market at $1,016, which is absolutely savage. But this is also good for a lot of Bitcoin miners as well because they have a lot of data centers and use AI technology. As I say, there's a lot of cryptocurrency assets that are doing very, very well due to AI. So yeah, huge. This is just looking crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. But let's get into some crypto stuff. So let's go back and look at what I talked about recently with Ethereum. This is currently the candle. It's still very much 3 days and 14 hours till close, and that is one of the biggest engulfing weekly candles you've seen in a long, long time, as we've already talked about, right? So what I'm thinking now, if we go to lower time frames, this level had to hold. I talked about it on Twitter as well, and I think we are going to see a move up to this level here. This is a prior all-time high, right? You can see this in more detail if we go to the 3-day time frame, which is roughly around here, which is at Fibonacci extension level. Wouldn't shock me if we continue going higher. If we keep blasting through blue sky breakouts, it could get very, very interesting for Ethereum, which could then lead to the collapse of the Bitcoin dominance chart, which could lead to more interest in altcoins, which could lead to more and more run and hype and stuff like that. But ultimately, the title of this video is all about Bitcoin, because I still believe, and I've said this many times, Bitcoin will be the one that will get people in, the headlines. This will get some of the headlines, don't get me wrong, and it will do very, very well, get people interested. But you got to go both ways. For me, a break of all-time high on Ethereum and a clear break of all-time high with Bitcoin going to $83,000, $84,000 will bring retail. It will bring the new fresh blood, the new money, right? You guys watching this video, hello, welcome. How are you doing? You guys are the hardcore. You guys have been around for a while. We've got to change that, and I think that'll be the catalyst, which we are going to go on to now with Bitcoin. So as I say with Bitcoin, right, this is a chart that you all know and love. This is kind of where I think we're going to go. Talked about it on the start of the week. We are still at a huge level, and we are at level of resistance right now. But as I say, a little bit of positive news, we may well hit the ground running very, very quickly. If that news comes out as positive, we are going to see volatility. That doesn't mean it's going to smash through. Might well be the exact same thing as what happened in the previous ETF approval, where we did correct, and then all of a sudden, craziness, right? So as you can imagine here, this is what happened. The Ethereum, the Bitcoin, hold on, I'll zoom in, make it so all the people on mobile. This is what happened. News, hype. We melted. Not massively, don't get me wrong, but then all of a sudden, bang. Wouldn't shock me if that happened exactly as it says on the tin with Ethereum. When you look at the Ethereum chart, it's not as great as it looks, but we had a massive spurt. It wouldn't shock me if we do retrace, then we find level of demand and then off we go. Another thing that I've not looked at for a while is Solana. Solana has had a bit of a hard rejection at this point, but as I say, right, when we're looking at the overall bigger picture, it could correct. And if there is going to be speculation about an ETF, it's probably going to get a lot of news and a lot of headlines, because a lot of people do invest and like Solana. The big underlying problem is the chart doesn't look great. It's got a very big obvious lower high. So if we're looking at the bearish situation here, this is kind of where we're at, where we have went all the way up to the 786, we could be pulling back. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if we go and retest some of these levels, but I do not think we're going to go down to these levels. I would discount. Nah. If that happens, something's gone majorly wrong. But then again, with Solana, as we know, it sometimes turns off a bit. But what I would be more interested in is more from this swing low to where this correction is kind of stopping at realistically. Wouldn't shock me going down to 161. Bit of volatility, go and snap into this level here. This could be a huge level of demand here. But as I say, if Ethereum gets this ETF and it's like tickety-boo, correction, probably. Leg up, off we go. That could create this as well, going towards and retesting and going towards its all-time high, which from this point going up to this swing could be absolutely a beautiful play. So that we need to be mindful of that. As I say, right, if this creates interest, it's going to create that little inner bubble where it will pop and it will go up higher. And people will be interested in the news and all that stuff, and new money coming in. We don't know what's going to happen. We do not know if the likes of Ethereum will be as powerful as this. Maybe not, but it's new money coming in, right? So we've got to look at that. If that then goes into speculation, talks, Solana, whatever, that could be really, really interesting for the market. Don't think it's going to happen though, but ultimately people will speculate and that will create price to rise. As I've mentioned Polkadot with regards to TikTok, this is a chart. It doesn't look great, but ultimately I'm still very bullish on it because of Jam 2.0, the core time sale, all these kind of stuff that's coming out for Polkadot is very, very bullish, and it could change the whole landscape for a lot of it. Now, I know a lot of my followers love Polkadot and invested into it as well. The reality is here, it's got to get these, these kind of things right. But the way I look at it though, Polkadot, in my opinion, is one of the most decentralized assets out there. It's got probably the best technology stack as well, not to mention a proven founder. If I was to be brutally honest, I would think if Polkadot was higher in price, people would be speculating on an ETF with Polkadot over Solana or with Solana. That's the thing. So we'll see where this goes. But in terms of the technical side of it, in terms of like the analysis, I still think this is a really good, solid bet. As I say, updates are looking really, really good. Decentralization, it's never had any real issues, but there's a lot of things coming. If you start doing your research, you'll see that. When you talk about TikTok potentially being used, whoever's acquiring TikTok using Polkadot, and obviously the Polkadot kind of, marketing thing with Inter Miami and obviously the IndyCar 500 and all that kind of stuff, things could get very, very interesting, right? But when we look at this level here, this is a level that's been holding for, quite a while now. Went below it, captured it. There's a massive, massive gap up here. Now, that being said, it's very, very hard to kind of isolate this. When we're looking at the overall bigger picture, if we're going to go from the low to this correction, we are on the 6-minute levels, right? What if this is the low? I know, what if, maybe, who knows, we'll see. Wouldn't shock me if we do start seeing a retest of these higher levels when the market hype comes, when there's an alt season, because we have had a bit of a big run here. Not massive, but the next leg could be the one. With the news, with the releases, with obviously how the shift of the blockchain will work in terms of how 2.0 works with Jam and all that kind of stuff, it makes it very, very different. And I don't think people understand that. So when that does happen, could be very, very interesting. So it would not shock me in the slightest at all with a bit of bullish news and a bit of new releases and obviously the market dropping in terms of the dominance and stuff like that and the shining light on altcoins. Polkadot probably will get a lot of eyeballs. So yeah, stick with that one. The last thing to talk about is the S&P 500. Now, traditional market's doing very, very well. Earnings doing okay. And we can see broken a new all-time high. As you can imagine, Nvidia pulled it over the edge probably. Not to mention solid earnings throughout the whole of this quarter has been really, really good. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that are speculating about potential recessions, and I just don't see that on the data just yet. I see more of a strong market for the next couple of years. And then we may well get that correction. The election's coming up. Remember, elections, why would a president that's trying to get back in power or remain in power, whatever, want a shit market? They don't. And with inflation numbers coming down and obviously the potential pivot of the rate cuts, they can control that market. They can control it very, very easily. Look at what's happening in the UK. The general election's coming, right? So they can control what is happening. This is looking okay. The VIX is at 11.61. The volatility is not there. It's just rising and rising and rising. And we all talk about it. Oh, but if you invest in the S&P 500, yeah, you need to put your money in stuff like this because as you can imagine how the markets move, as prices go up, so do the markets. It's weirdly odd, I know, but you will get used to it. So there we go. We're done. Hope you enjoy. But yeah, I think Bitcoin's going to move soon. I think Ethereum's going to move soon. We will get volatility depending on whatever happens. But I think in the next year, with the uptrends, with the interest, with the institutional investment, with all the marketing around it as well and how things have developed, things are looking pretty damn good. But anyways, video here for you to watch. Enjoy it.